Okay, so good afternoon or good morning, everyone. We will be talking about your acellular and prokaryotic microbes. So, you have your history, no? So, beforehand, hindi nila alam na yung viral infection is kung ano ba yung nagkukos nun. So, si Louis Pasteur, he hypothesized that rabies was caused by a living thing smaller than bacteria. So, yun naman yung ano nila, yung hypothesis nila. So, ano kaya yung entity na yon na pwedeng mag-cause ng rabies na tinatawag? And tama naman talaga si Louis Pasteur na ang virus ay smaller than your bacteria. But in some of the texts, no, they propose that your viruses are non-living, no? Why? Because they are said to be acellular, or ibig sabihin, under sila ng acellular group na yon. And they would require yung host na tinatawag in order to at least multiply or to do its biochemical activities. Ibig sabihin nun, para makapag-generate sila ng mga activities nila, no? Or energy. Now, yung rabies natin, this is one of the clinically important na mga diseases. Why? Because in the early stage, no, kapag ikaw ay nakagat ng isang rabid animal, no, what will happen is that ano ba yung mga rabid animal na yun? Yun yung mga cat. It would also include yung bat na tinatawag. And at the same time, nandun din yung mga aso, no? This rabid animal, pag ikaw ay nakagat, ano mangyayari? You will have your clinical symptoms na tinatawag. So, yung una, it's like a flu-like symptoms, no? And syempre, masakit yung area na ikaw ay nakagat. Then, hanggang sa nagkaroon ka na ng end stage na tinatawag. So, usually, kapag yung ibang mga pasyente, pag hindi mo nabigyan ng bakuna, what will happen to them is sila ay natatakot sa tubig, known as your hydrophobia. Yung iba would present na sila ay natatakot saan? Natatakot naman sa hangin, known as your aerophobia. So that is why it's very important, no, na ma-establish na dapat kapag nakalmot, they would have your post-exposure prophylaxis or yung bakuna na tinatawag. So, marami pa tayong mga possible na pwedeng pagkuhanan ng mismong mismong rabies virus. Again, rabid animals, no? So, that would include niyan yung dog, yung mga bats natin, no? And even mga cats. And pwede natin isama yung mga raccoons, mga foxes na tinatawag, no? So, again, we need vaccination. Sobrang halaga nun. And we need to take note then, no? He also proposed the term virus, which is a Latin word for poison. So, yung virus daw, poison siya because you could have your clinical symptoms. The question is, no, what if ikaw ay makagat ng daga? Kailangan mo ba ng anti-rabies? The answer is hindi. So, ang daga ay hindi one of the rabid materials. Again, ang daga ay hindi one of the rabid materials. Ano lang yung kinakailangan mo? No, that would be yung anti-tetano na tinatawag, no? So, again, anti-tetano, yung kinakailangan mo for that. So, kapag may sa mga animal bite center, no, they are proposing to na magkaroon ka ng or ma-injectan ka ng anti-rabies, hindi siya warranted for that. Again, hindi warranted for that unless ikaw ay makagat ng aso o pusa, no, you need anti-rabies. Or kahit ikaw ay makalmot, should I say. And for example, meron kang exposure ng mga contaminated meat, no, or di kaya yung infected animal, dinilaan yung open wounds mo, kailangan mo ng anti-rabies for that. Okay? Again, anti-rabies yung kinakailangan mo if infected yung rabid animal natin. Okay? Okay. So, may mga ano na tayo dito, mga, let me erase this first. So, meron tayong mga important person na kailangan nating i-note. Number 1, si Ivanovsky and Vejerink. No? So, what they did was, they showed a disease in tobacco. And again, that is caused by virus na tinatawag. So, again, ito yung normal natin na leaf, no? Walang mga discoloration. Pero, yung tobacco mosaic virus, it causes discoloration sa leaf. So, sakit siya. Then, you have Loeffler and Frosch. So, they discovered an animal virus that causes your foot and mouth disease in cattle. So, ito yung mga cow natin. So, bakit nagkakaroon ng ganyang mga symptoms, no? It's because merong specific virus for that na tinatawag. And kung familiar din tayo, no? Meron din tayong tinatawag na hand, foot, mouth diseases, no? So, ito, makikita naman, or this one is also known as your HMPD. So, ngayon, yung HMPD, no? Yan ay mga makikita natin. Nagiging concern yan. HFMD, should I say? Hand, mouth, dapat muna. And foot. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Let me, tama yung kanina, no? That would be hand, foot, and mouth disease. So, this one should be HFMD, no? So, this one is also a clinical important na sakit din, no? Why is it clinically important? Kasi makikita mo yan sa mga bata, no? So, usually, ano nangyayari sa kanila? Nagkakaroon sila ng mataas na fever, no? Meron din silang tinatawag na mga rashes, no? And may mga painful na mga mouth sores. So, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon sila ng singaw. And kapag nagkaroon ng singaw yung mga bata, mahirap yon kasi hindi sila makakakain. Decrease yung appetite nila kasi masakit to, no? So, again, take note nyo rin to kasi wala siyang gamot, no? Ibig sabihin, we only do supportive treatment for these people. Okay, again, we only do supportive treatment for these people. So ibig sabihin nun, hindi mo kailangan magbigay ng antibacterial for this, no? Usually, supportive lang talaga siya. If nilalagnat yung pasyente, we give paracetamol, no? Kung bumabagsak yung appetite ng pasyente, anong gagawin natin? So, we need to encourage more yung bata na kumain. Kasi, kung hindi natin siya pipiliting kumain, ano mangyayari? Babagsak yung kanyang weight. Okay? So, isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng hand, foot, and mouth disease or the HFMD is it's because of you need to take note this one ito sa tao to ha, Coxsackie virus. Bakit ko binabanggit to? Yung halos ka-counterpart nung sa cattle because makikita to sa mga clinics, no? Mga bata na dinadala sa clinics o di kaya makita nyo, dinadala sa ER, Doc, hindi na po siya kumakain, ganyan. Hindi na po siya, lagi, nilalagman na po siya ng mataas, ano pong gagawin. So, at the end of the day, kung ma-establish mo na Coxsackie virus siya, di ba? Or should I say, hand, foot, mouth disease siya. So, ang mangyayari, usually, you need to discharge these patients, okay? So, ikaw as a nurse, anong gagawin mo? You could do patient counseling din, di ba? So, for example, kailangan niyang uminom ng marami to avoid dehydration and yung paracetamol. Kung yan pala ay walang gamot, no? Ibig sabihin, walang specific na gamot, supportive treatment lang. Bakit kailangan pang pumunta ng mga pasyente sa ER or magpakonsulta. It is because yung paracetamol mo na ibibigay is dahil bata to, hindi pwede siyang bara-bara lang or kung ano lang yung nakalagay sa pakete. Okay? So, very important na makompute ng physician or clinician yung gamot na gamot na ititake ng mga bata. Okay, so yun lang siya. But usually, no, itong mga to naman, no, nagre-resolve naman siya usually on its own. Again, it could resolve on its own naman. So, very important yon. So, ano pang pwede natin maitulong, no? So, sa mismong pasyente natin, sabihin natin na kailangan, no, importante yung hand washing na tinatawag, yung pagiging malinis ng kapaligiran, and i-avoid yung mga close contact na may ng mga infected individuals. So, para ma-avoid yung transmission na tinatawag. Okay? So, kung may question kayo regarding this one, you may message me. Okay? So, ito, very important tong Coxsackie virus. Now, you also have your virus size range. So, yung virus natin, it's one of the, I think, smallest infectious agents natin. So, si smallest virus natin is known as your parvovirus na tinatawag, no? So, kung mapapansin nyo, si parvovirus, no, pwede rin siya makita sa mga dogs natin, diba? So, may clinical manifestation. Tapos, usually, ito yung nagkakos ng death. So, meron din tayong parvoviruses na responsible sa tinatawag na slap chick disease. Okay? Slap chick disease. So, ito, makikita mo to sa mga human, no? So, why is it slap chick disease? Kapag nakita niyo yung bata, no, marirealize nyo na, okay, para siyang sinampal talaga. You could search yung slap chick disease. This is also known as your erythema infectiosum na tinatawag, no? Again, this one is your erythema infectiosum. Or, this one is also known as your fifth disease. Now, bakit importante na maalala nyo to? Kasi ito, baka lumabas yan sa board exam. So, you need to take note yung mga pangalan na yon. Now, you also have your largest viruses na tinatawag. That is known as your HSV, no? So, this one could produce yung mga oral herpes natin, di ba? And yung mga herpes natin na makikita sa genitalia, no? Again, pwedeng yung isa sa oral, tapos yung isa sa genitalia. So, kapag nagkaroon ng herpes, no, pwede nyo siyang tingnan. Yung herpes naman natin is usually mga blisters yung tinatawag natin, no? Again, blisters, no? So, very important yan, no? Let me write. Okay? Again, ang makikita mo ay mga blisters. Okay? Again, blisters. So, pag mga blisters, ibig sabihin nun, may mga para siyang fluid, no? Again, kapag blisters, yan ay fluid filled, no? Yan. And, isa pa sa characteristic nila ay painful, masakit, kumbaga, no? So, kapag nag-rupture yan, no, yung mga blisters na yan, no, it will become ulcers na tinatawag. Yan. So, wag natin i-smallin yung mga herpes. So, some cylindrical viruses can be relatively long but are so narrow in diameter that their visibility is limited without an electron microscope. Anong key takeaway? In order to view your microscope, no, you will be needing your in order to view your viruses, you need to have your electron microscope to further appreciate it. So, now, there are different properties of viruses. Number one, they possess either DNA or RNA. So, mahalaga to. Why is it important? Because, kung DNA or RNA lang yung component niya, hindi pwedeng both. Okay? So, they are unable to replicate on their own, no? Na tinatawag. So, they do not divide by binary fission, mitosis, or meiosis. Again, hindi sila, itong mga to, binary fission and mitosis, usually, di ba, that could be yung mga bacteria natin. Pero hindi ganun yung way ng mga viruses natin. They also lack yung genes and enzymes na tinatawag, and they depend on the ribosomes and enzymes and metabolites of the host cell na tinatawag. Now, this is the structure of your virus. So, may mga nakabilog na dyan. For example, no? For example, yung spike natin. Yan. So, this one is your spike protein. So, this could be both present in your naked virus and your envelope virus. So, yung spike natin is very important for what? This is very important sa tinatawag na ito yon, attachment. Okay? Again, that is your attachment. Or, in some other cases, tinatawag siyang docking. Okay? So, now, yung naked viruses natin, to differentiate it with your envelope viruses, yung naked viruses natin is wala siyang tinatawag na envelope. Pero pag envelope ay viruses, meron siyang, syempre, there is a presence of your envelope na tinatawag. Okay? So, yun yung isa sa mga importance doon. Now, sino kaya dyan yung mas resistant? Or, sino kaya dyan ang mas resistant sa tingin nyo? So, the answer is so, the answer is your naked virus, no? So, again, they are more resistant sa mga harsh environment, no? So, example niyan, yung mga adenoviruses natin, noroviruses, and polioviruses. So, again, no, wala siyang, pag sinabi mong naked, walang envelope viruses, okay? So, or, in other words, they are also known as your non-envelope. Okay. So, ito, let me erase lang this one. Let me erase lang for a while. Okay. So, meron tayong mga structures na tinatawag. So, pag sinabi mong capsid, siya yung nag-protect kay nucleic acid. So, para lang mabigyan ng pangalan yung nucleic acid plus capsid, that is known as your nucleocapsid. Then you also have your naked viruses na tinatawag, and they consist only of a nucleocapsid. Ito yon. Yan. Now, again, walang envelope, no? You see, naked viruses. So again, meron pang balot yung capsid na yon. So imagine niyo, nucleic acid, capsid, then meron kang envelope, no? So, again, yan yung covering ng capsid natin, yung envelope. And you also have spikes na tinatawag. Pwede mo siyang makita sa naked or envelope viruses. And what do they do? Makikita mo siya, usually, sa mga nucleocapsid or pwede rin naman sa envelope, no? So, what do they do? For docking or tinatawag na attachment, diba? And you also have your virion na tinatawag. So, ano ba yung virion na to? So, ang virion natin is a fully formed virus, no, that is able to establish an infection in a host cell. So, again, yan na yung magkakos. Kung nakapag-establish na siya ng infection na tinatawag, dun ka papasok, pwedeng mag-cause na ng tinatawag na disease. Okay? So, ang isang virus, hindi naman siya kaagad makakapag presence of virus or bacteria doesn't mean meron ka na kaagad na infection. So, what you need to do is, kailangan nilang mag-proliferate inside the body, no? Kailangan nilang ma-evade. Ibig sabihin, matakasan yung mga immune system, no? And what will happen? They need to establish that infection, no? So, ibig sabihin, dapat sobrang dami nila. Kailangan nilang ma-overwhelm yung immune system, no? In that case, hindi malalabanan ng immune system yung dami nila. So, what will happen? Eventually, they could now form yung disease na tinatawag. Okay, again, they could form yung disease na yon, no? But, syempre, buti na lang kung normal tayo ng mga tao, yan, or normal yung immune system natin, so, dapat maapulan niya later, ma-clear out niya yung mga yon. Lalo na kung patent naman yung immune system natin. So, yan. Okay. So, let's move on to your different structures na tinatawag, no? Excuse me. Excuse me. So, you have your nucleocapsid. Yan. Ito yan. So, what does it do? Pag nucleocapsid, nucleic acid plus na capsid, 'di ba? Anong ginagawa ni capsid? Siya yung nagpa-protect kay nucleic acid or nagbabalot. Now, yung capsid meron pa siyang may balot pa siya, known as your envelope, okay? Now, meron kang tinatawag na spike glycoprotein, no? Yan yung mga protrusion mo na makikita saan? Dito sa envelope natin. Now, anong ginagawa ni spike protein? Again, that is for docking, no? Or attachment na tinatawag, no? So, now, meron din tayong tinatawag na mga membrane protein, no? Again, membrane protein na tinatawag. And you also have your small envelope protein, no? Still envelope protein pa rin siya, no? So, again, and you also have your genomic or the ssRNA, no? So, ito yung nucleic acid muna na tinatawag. So, please take note yung mga structures na yan. So, now, since this one is your COVID-19 structure, the question is, ano yung structure na responsible for the crown-like appearance, 'di ba? Remember, COVID-19 is under your coronavirus, 'di ba? So, bakit may crown-like appearance siya? Ano kaya ang responsible for that? The one responsible for that is known as your S protein. Okay? Again, S protein ang may dahilan doon. Now, again, you have your viral capsid, no? Your capsid houses your nucleic acid. So, kapag nucleic acid, it could be DNA or RNA. So, hindi siya pwedeng both na present in your viruses. So, again, this one is constructed from identical protein subunits called your capsomeres, no? Ito yung capsomeres natin na tinatawag. So, again, they could spontaneously self-assemble into the finished capsid. And you have your two different types. So, this one is your helical na tinatawag. And you also have your icosahedral. Then, you have your complex, no? In some books na tinatawag. So, please take note yung mga different types natin, like your helical and icosahedral. Now, so this one is a kumbaga classification, no? So you have your non-envelope and envelope under your RNA viruses. Then you also have your DNA viruses. It could be non-envelope and envelope. So may mga single-stranded positive sense natin tayo and mga double-stranded, diba? Yun yung mga classification. Then sa envelope, may single-stranded din tayo and may mga retroviruses din tayo na tinatawag. Now, you also have your DNA viruses natin na tinatawag, no? So, ano yung mga DNA viruses? It could be non-envelope and yung envelope. Some could be linear, no? Yung iba circular, no? And you need to take note that. So, ano ang kailangan yung kabisaduhin? Yung mga sub neto. And isa sa mga assignment nyo is hanapin kung ano-ano yung mga yan. So, ano yung mga viruses na yan. Since limited lang yung time natin, you need to study as well. Okay? So, please take note of that. Yan. You also have your epidemic prone viruses. Epidemic prone disease, should I say. So, this is a case surveillance. Sorry, let me erase this one. Yeah. So, you have your acute placid paralysis or your AFP na tinatawag, no? So, ano ba yung flaccid paralysis? Kapag sinabi mong flaccid paralysis, sila yung para silang may mga floppy muscles. Ibig sabihin, para silang lantang gulay. Kumbaga, Again, para silang mga lantang gulay. Floppy muscles. Yan. So, ano ba yung mga causes nito? For example, kung may floppy muscles, yung baby, no, ibig sabihin para silang lantang gulay. Usually, ang pwedeng cause niyan is yung mga polio natin. Polioviruses na tinatawag. Isa pa, yung diphtheria, no? Ano ba yung diphtheria natin na tinatawag? So, para siyang yung mga, natin, no? Ang nagkakos niyan would be yung tinatawag na Corynebacterium natin na tinatawag, no? So, ano bang meron dito? So, itong bacteria na to, it releases a toxin and it could damage yon, yung mga heart natin, yung kidneys and nervous system. So, again, no, diphtheria, sino ang nag-cause nito? You need to take note, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay? Laging tandaan nyo na to habang maaga pa. Bakit? Ma-encounter natin to sa ibang mga slides, no? Or, yan. Pero, what I wanted you to memorize is, ano yung mga names, counter names? Diphtheria, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay? So, you also have your measles na tinatawag, no? Ano naman ang measles? Sino naman ang may pakanan yan. So, yung measles natin, no, ay mahalaga, no. So, another term for your measles ay tinatawag na, ano kaya? Is it rubella or rubiola? So, pwede nyo i-search para lang magkaroon tayo ng interaction kahit ito ay, kahit ito ay recorded lang. So, again, that is also known as your rubiola. Okay? Again, measles is also known as your rubiola. Next, rubella naman is also known as German measles. Okay? Again, this one is also known as your German measles. Now, you have your neonatal tetanus, no? Yung tetanus na yan is pwede pala yun, no? Yung baby, pwede pala siyang matetano. So, yes, pwede, no? So, paano nangyayari to? Sino ang causative agent ng tetanus? That would be your Clostridium tetani. Okay, na tinatawag. So, kapag nagkaroon ng tetanus yung pasyente o na-infection ng Clostridium tetani, ano nangyayari? Nagkakaroon ng muscle spasms yung pasyente. Ano ba yung spasm? Parang nanginginig-nginig, ganyan, no? And nagiging rigid din yung baby. Okay? Yan. So, again, bakit nangyayari yon yung mga yon? So, dahil unsterile yung umbilical cord care natin. So, ibig sabihin, biglang nanganak si mother, no? So, what happened? Walang, pangkat, no? Hindi sterile yung pinanggupit, no? Anong nangyari? Pinanggupit lang ay yung, tawag dito, yung, panggupit ng shampoo. Okay? O yung pinanggupit kahit saan lang. So, hindi dapat ganun kasi yon. So, very important yung bagay na to. Okay? So, kapag kayo ay nag-rotate, 'di ba, makikita nyo na importante yung aseptic technique. For example, ino-autoclave yung mga ginagamit na pangkat, ganyan, no? Very important 'yan. Kasi we don't want na ma-transmit yung mismong na yon. Tawag dito? Hindi ma-transmit yung infection na yon. Then, isa sa mga important din na dapat malaman pag tayo ay nagbubuntis, 'di ba? Meron tayo kasing na tatanggap, no, na bakuna, and that is known as your tetanus toxoid. Yan. So, dapat nakakatanggap ng tetanus toxoid si mommy. Okay? So, itong mga to, nabanggit na ay sa papala is yung pertussis na tinatawag, no? So, yung pertussis natin, that is cause, may nagko-cause din dyan na tinatawag, no? So, this is also known as your whooping cough. So, that is through your Bordetella pertussis. So, itong mga binabanggit ko, i-take note nyo kasi baka lumabas yan sa board exam. Whooping cough, Bordetella pertussis. So, now, itong mga to, yan. Yung lahat ng yan ang nabanggit, kasama sila sa tinatawag na EPI or yung expanded natin na immunization, no? Again, that is part of your EPI, no, na tinatawag, or yung schedule natin, no, EPI schedule. So, again, this one is your expanded program na tinatawag. Expanded program on immunization. Ibig sabihin, bata ka pa lang, no, baby ka pa lang, nakakatanggap ka na dapat ng bakuna. So, lagi nating i-educate yung patients natin. For example, kung ikaw man ay maging part ng, for example, ng NICU, ng mga well baby, na mga clinic, no, may pinanganak, so, dapat mandato yon na dapat ang bata ay makareceive ng bakuna. So, that is known as your EPI. Part nun is yung bakuna para sa polio. It could be in the form of your tinatawag na OPV or yung oral polio virus and yung IPV natin na tinatawag, no? Then, meron din tayong etong mga to, yung rubiola na yan, no? Meron pang hindi na kikita dito, hindi nabanggit. But, meron tayong tinatawag na MMR. So, ano yon? Mumps. May bakuna din dyan for that. Kung alam niyo yung mumps, that is known as your beke, no? Mumps. Then, you also have your measles na tinatawag, no? Then, the other one would be your, ano kaya yung R na yan na tinatawag? R, ito nga, yung rubella na tinatawag. So, merong mga MMR na mga vaccine na nare-receive ang ating mga babies. Okay? So, yan yung sinusundan natin. Ay, kailangan punta ng healthcare center si baby kasi dapat mag-receive siya ng ganito. Okay? Next, tetanus. Yan. So, ito ay kasama nung tinatawag na DTaP, no? Ano-ano yon? Ano kaya yon? That would be yung tinatawag na, lagay ko dito DTaP. So, ito yon, diphtheria, diba? Which causes which is caused by, should I say, by your Corynebacterium. Then, you also have your tetanus toxoid na tinatawag. And the last one would be your pertussis. So, see, lahat to, bata pa lang tayo, dapat nare-receive na natin yan. Kasi kapag hindi natin na-receive yan, pwede tayong, kung hindi natin na-receive yan, number one, pwede tayong magkaroon ng polio. Yan. So, anong magiging long-term sequelae nun? Pwede yung isang paa is atrophied, hindi ka makalakad ng maayos. That's one thing. Next one is yung mga diphtheria, pertussis, yan. Yung mga akala natin simpleng cough, no, pwedeng madanas ng baby natin na it could compromise yung respiratory nila. So, what would happen? Pwedeng itubo sila, ganyan. And mas longer yung hospitalization or yung hospital stay ng pasyente kapag ganito. Okay? Then, dapat hindi naman bongga or grabe yung mga tigdas, 'di ba? Yung mga bulutong, or should I say, yung mga tigdas hangin, pero dahil hindi napabakunahan yung bata, what will happen? May mga long-term sequelae na nararanasan yung mga pasyente. Or, pinakamasama dito, no, kapag hindi nabakunahan yung pasyente, pwede silang mamatay, no? So, tumataas yung tinatawag na mortality rate mo, kumbaga. So, very important ang bakuna, okay? So, you also have your other vector-borne disease. Ibig sabihin ng vector-borne, may nagtra-transmit nun. So, it could be, in the cases of dengue and chikungunya, no? That would be yung mga, mga lamok natin na tinatawag, o yung mosquito, no? Yun yung mga vectors natin. So, now, yung dengue natin, nagiging sikat yan kapag rainy season. And we need to take note, no, kapag dengue, very important yung hygiene or yung environment natin, no? So, take note nyo rin na very important talaga na yung dengue na yan kasi isa siya sa pwedeng mag-cause ng mortality, no? And hospitalization. And syempre, hindi naman lahat kailangang i-admit, no? Yun yung mga pag-uusapan natin next time. So, isa pa sa nagiging problem, no, yung leptospirosis na tinatawag. Bakit nagiging problema ang leptospirosis? Mas nagiging problema siya kapag baha season, pag nag-wade yung mismong mga tao sa mga baha. So, kapag may narinig ka, wading and flood, no, ibig sabihin lumusong yan sa baha. So, isa sa iisipin mo, leptospirosis. So, lalo na kapag may open wound si pasyente, so what will happen? Magkakaroon ng opportunity, sino? Si Leptospira interrogans, para mag-penetrate into the skin. So, yun siya. So, you will have your clinical symptoms na tinatawag. For example, calf muscle pain. Yan. Ano pa? Oliguria. Ibig sabihin ng oliguria, bumababa yung dami ng ihi ng pasyente. Yung ibang pasyente, syempre may fever and may mga jaundice na tinatawag, naninilaw na yung pasyente. Okay? So, you also have your food and waterborne diseases. So, ito yung mga nagkakos ng tinatawag na gastroenteritis, no? So, meron kang mga acute bloody diarrhea. So, may mga ganun tayong mga cases. Mga acute viral hepatitis, no? Yung mga hepatitis A natin na tinatawag. Yung cholera na tinatawag, no? So, sino ba ang nagkakos ng tinatawag na cholera? Ano kaya nangyayari sa cholera? So, sa cholera kasi, nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na watery diarrhea, no? Again, watery diarrhea. So, sobrang profuse niyan, no? Nung cholera na yan, no? Kasi bakit? Kapag masyadong watery yung diarrhea mo, no, what will happen is, pwedeng mag-cause ng dehydration naman yung pasyente. So, anong causative agent neto? Na encounter na natin to, that is known as your Vibrio cholerae. So, ito yung, anong shape nito? Need yung balikan. Okay? So, next one, you also have your rotaviruses na tinatawag. It could also cause yung tinatawag na acute gastroenteritis. So, usually, mas present to sa mga bata na tinatawag. So, very important, no? Yung, neto, yung ma-establish nyo, pagbata, ang most common dyan, rotaviruses, no? Again, rotaviruses. And meron din tayong bakuna for your rotavirus na tinatawag. Okay? So, then, you also have your typhoid fever na tinatawag. So, anong meron sa typhoid fever? So, sa typhoid fever, this one is could be caused by your Salmonella typhi. Yan. Okay? So, anong ginagawa ba ng Salmonella? Yan. So, kapag naka-ingest ka ng food or water na contaminated, usually fecal oral yung yung transmission. What do I mean by fecal oral? Ibig sabihin, kinain, tapos naidumi through feces, tapos pag tubig yan, bodies of water, ano nangyayari? pwedeng ma-ingest nung mismong uninfected individual. Okay? So, ito yung mga nabanggit natin. So, again, yung viruses natin, yung nucleic acid nila, it could be DNA or RNA. And isa sa mga dapat yung maalala, this could be ito yung mga DNA natin, right? Ito. DNA, yan. It could be double-stranded or single-stranded. Then yung RNA natin, it could be single-stranded or double-stranded. And most viral genomes are circular, pero may ilan na linear, which is nakita naman natin sa general classification. So, let me erase this first, sorry. So, we have your positive sense RNA. So, pag yung DNA viruses natin, again, single-stranded or double-stranded, yan. RNA natin could be double-stranded or single-stranded. Pag positive sense RNA natin, this one is ready for immediate translation. Pero kapag negative sense RNA natin, it should be converted first before magkaroon ng translation. Ito, nabanggit ko na yung general process na to, di ba, yung central dogma. So, dapat maalala nyo to. And dapat, ito ay master nyo na. Okay? So, then, you also have your segmented na tinatawag. So, individual genes exist on separate pieces of RNA. So, you also have your retroviruses na tinatawag. So, they carry their own enzyme na tinatawag. No? So, what do they do? Yung retroviruses na to. So, basically, you have your RNA, no? RNA yung dala-dala nila, pero pwede nilang i-reverse transcription. Again, that would be reverse transcription na tinatawag. Bakit siya reverse transcription? Because in your transcription, ang gagawin mo ay from DNA, 'di ba? DNA, just ano lang to ito ay review lang. In your transcription, anong ginagawa mo? DNA to mRNA. Pero, no? Pero sa mga retroviruses, meron ka ng RNA. Ang gagawin nila is i-convert it into DNA. Yun yung tinatawag na reverse transcription. Okay? Again, yun yung tinatawag na reverse transcription. And meron silang specific enzyme dyan para magawa yan. Okay? So, one example niyan is yung tinatawag na ano kayong example niyan? One example niyan is yung tinatawag na HIV natin or the human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, next. So, ito napasadahan ko na I think yung iba dito like your parvovirus, yan. Na rinig na rin natin yung iba sa previous slide. Tapos, let me erase lang So, number 1, no? You have your variola, ito yon. So, smallpox, no? So, ito, eradicated na siya a long time ago, no? So, buti na lang meron tayong tinatawag na vaccine. Okay, again, buti na lang meron tayong tinatawag na vaccine kasi kung walang vaccine na yan, ano mangyayari? Hanggang ngayon siguro is meron pa rin tayong smallpox na tinatawag, no? So, again, meron ang na-create beforehand ng mga vaccine na tinatawag and magpasalamat tayo kay Edward Jenner kasi siya yung produce ng vaccine na yan for smallpox para ma-eradicate siya. Then, you also have your herpes simplex 2, no? That is ang kinakos niya would be yung genital herpes. So, sa mga let's say for example vagina o di kaya sa penis ng lalaki, may makikita kayo na painful blisters. Kapag pumutok na yan, di ba nabanggit ko na pwede siya maging ulcer. Next, parvovirus, no? Erythema infectiosum or also known as your, tama, fifth disease or ano pang another term, slap cheek disease. Iisa lang yon. Okay? Then, you also have your polioviruses, yung poliomyelitis natin na tinatawag. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, nag-atrophy. Ibig sabihin na nag-atrophy, lumiliit yung side ng affected, no? So, yan yun. Influenza virus, yung mga influenza natin, yung mga cold or flu symptom, flu natin na tinatawag. Next, rotavirus, it could cause yung gastroenteritis, mga pagtatae, no? Then, HIV, it would cause yung AIDS natin na tinatawag. Okay? So, very important din na binilugan ko na siya, no? At bibilugan ko pa ulit. Bakit ko kailangan bilugan? Kasi, you need to take note, no? Na isa to sa mga mahalaga na discussion. Why? Because kikita nyo in your pharmacology, kapag nag-pharma na kayo, may iba't ibang target yung anti-viral natin. So, anong mga tina-target nila? Yung mga steps na to, no? Para hindi mag-proliferate. So, ano ba yung mga steps natin in the animal viruses? Okay? So, number 1, you have what you call your attachment. Ito. So, anong gagawin niya? Siya ay magdaduck. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng duck, siya ay didikit. Okay? Didikitan niya. Ano kayang protein ang need? Okay, that would be your S protein. Tama. Now, kapag nag-dock na siya, what will happen? Kailangan niyang mag-penetrate. Kailangan niyang pumasok. Ito yon. Yan. So, ma-engulf siya through the process of your endocytosis. Naalala pa si endocytosis. Going paloob yan. Okay? Ito yan. Yan. So, nandyan na siya. Bigla. So, pag na-engulf na siya, what will happen? Naka-penetrate na siya ngayon. Nakapasok na siya. Maghuhubad siya ngayon. Uncoating ang tawag doon. So, viral contents are released. Familiar? 'Di ba? Anong ginawa niya? Attachment, 'di ba? Attachment means, no, dumikit siya, nag-dock through your S protein. Kumbaga, parang pumatong, nag-penetrate, naghubad. Okay? Now, naghubad na ngayon yung mismong viruses natin because it needs to release yung tinatawag na mga viral contents niya. Ano-ano yun? Possible yung mga nucleic acids natin na tinatawag. Now, after niya maghubad, anong gagawin niya? Anong target niya? Saan siya kaya pupunta? Pupunta siya sa tinatawag na nucleus. Itong bilog na to baka ma-confuse kayo. Hindi ito yung virus. Ito hindi virus yan. Host cell yan. Okay? Mga target cell niya. Now, yung host cell natin, meron siyang sariling nucleus ngayon. So, papasok siya doon. Papasok yung viral RNA dyan, no? So, dyan siya magta-try na mag-proliferate. Sasabayan niya yung replication na ginagawa ni nucleus. Now, nakapasok na siya. Since sinasabayan niya, kada replicate ng DNA, what will happen? Okay, sige. Dumadami din ngayon yung mismong viruses natin. So, ngayon, meron ka ng bagong mga virus. Yan, di ba ang galing nila? So, what will happen? Siyempre, ang gagawin nila is kailangan na nilang lumabas. Punta naman tayo sa ibang mga cell, kumbaga. Okay? So, again, yan yung tinatawag na release. Yung isa, kapag may bagong nagawa, no? Yung new phages are formed. That is your assembly. So, balikan natin, attachment, penetration, at coating, biosynthesis, no? Assembly, then release. Okay? So, please memorize this one. Okay? So, now, meron ako mga binigay na dito ng mga notes, no? So, you have your latent virus infection. So, in the cases of chickenpox, diba? Familiar sa chickenpox or also known as your balutong. So, now, for example, nagkaroon ka ng chickenpox nung bata ka pa. Ibig sabihin nun, kapag nagkaroon ka ng chickenpox na bata ka pa, hindi ibig sabihin nun na hindi ka na magkakaroon ng sakit pa. Na halos kasing katulad ng chickenpox kapag tumanda ka na. So, there are some viruses that could possess yung tinatawag na latent infection na tinatawag. Okay? Ano ang latent infection? Ibig sabihin ng latent infection, they could become dormant. Ibig sabihin ng dormant is parang, lang sila, natutulog, no? So, natutulog sila ay nag-evade sa immune system, no? Anong ginagawa? Nagtatago sila. For example, sa mga sensory neuron, no? Sa cases ng ating varicella, they could, pwede silang magtago sa trigeminal nerve na tinatawag, no? Yan. So, that would be your cranial nerve 5, no? So, sa trigeminal nerve nyo, no, magtatago sila dyan. So, what will happen? No? Mag-hide sila dyan para hindi sila maapula nung mismong immune system natin. Okay? So, magdo-dormant stage, matutulog muna sila, no? Again, another term for your chickenpox is known as your varicella, okay? Varicella ang tawag doon. Now, what will happen? For example, may specific trigger ka. For example, ng specific trigger natin is stress, ganyan. Stress na stress yung person, ganyan. So, nagkaroon ka ng sakit, bumaba yung immune system mo, no? So, ngayon, what will happen? What will happen kapag, na-reactivate yan? So, ang mangyayari is magkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na shingles, no? Shingles ang tawag, no? So, that is also known as your herpes zoster. So, yung dalawang to, yung varicella, yung chickenpox, and yung herpes zoster, they are both caused by your varicella zoster virus or known as your VZV. Magkaparehas lang yun. Now, very important to kasi meron din tayong tawag dito, meron din tayong bakuna for the chickenpox, 'di ba? And mahalaga na maalaman nyo to kasi, for example, kapag ikaw ay nagka-chickenpox na, it doesn't mean long-lasting immunity. Magkakaroon ka pa rin, pero ang form, kapag natumanda ka na, pero ang form lang is known as your herpes zoster. And masakit din yung, herpes zoster, no? Masakit siya. Kasi bakit? Kasi nakatago siya sa mga sensory neuron natin. Particularly, for example, yung trigeminal nerve natin. Okay? So, meron tayong vaccine for shingles that is known as your Shingrix. Okay? So, may available tayo. But I think this one is very expensive. Yan. Then, you also have your herpes simplex natin na tinatawag. So, yung herpes simplex natin, again, what does it do? Pwede siya sa bibig, no? So, that could cause yung oral herpes natin na tinatawag. Usually, the strain would be HSV1. And this one is, again, highly contagious siya. And this is lifelong infection. Ibig sabihin, no, they could go into dormant stage. Ibig sabihin nun, kapag nagkaroon ka ng herpes simplex, no, na virus, yung mga painful na mga blister na yan, hindi ibig sabihin na next time immune ka na. So, again, lifelong infection yan. So, again, they could remain dormant, no? And kapag, for example, sa oral yan, saan sila pwedeng pumunta? Pwede silang maging dormant, usually sa tinatawag na trigeminal nerve, no? So, halos parehas lang din sa cranial, sa varicella zoster. Nagtatago sila sa trigeminal nerve, no? And kapag bumagsak yung immune system, tapos ikaw ay na-stress, ganyan, what will happen? Pwedeng ma-reactivate yung mga infections na to. Okay? Again, ito yung kailangan nyo kapag latent virus. They never completely go away. Sila ay natutulog lang. Okay? So, again, very important yung term na reactivation. Pag narinig nyo yung word na reactivation, ay nag-reactivate tong virus na to, ay may latent stage siya. Ibig sabihin, may dormant stage, or natutulog yung bacteria na yon, or sila ay dormant, may dormant stage. Okay? So, if you have any questions regarding this, kindly message me. Then, let me erase lang this one. So, you have what's called your your oncogenic viruses. Pag sinabi mong onco, diba, it has something to do with cancer. Yan. Oncogenic viruses or oncoviruses. Again, they could cause yung tinatawag na cancer, or there could be a driver na kung saan they could mutate yung mga yung mga viruses natin. And pwedeng maging cancerous yung mga yon, no? So, now, paano ba to? Ano ba yung mga example neto? You have your Epstein-Barr virus. Isa sa mga pwedeng way para ma-transmit natin to is through through your saliva and bodily fluids. Yan. So this one is also known as your, para lang as additional, herpes virus 4 na tinatawag, no? So usually, no, yung EBV mo kasi, ang target niya talaga is known as your B cells, no? So, familiar kayo sa B cells. Ang B cells niya, it mounts yung tinatawag na antibodies natin, okay? So, kung ini-infect niya yung B cells mo, what will happen, no? Babagsak yung immune system ni pasyente. So, isa sa nagiging cause niya na cancer would be what you call your Hodgkin lymphoma, no? Na tinatawag. And another thing is yung tinatawag na nasopharyngeal carcinoma na tinatawag. Yan. So, ano bang nangyayari kasi sa Epstein-Barr viruses natin? So, usually, no, syempre, nagkaka-fever, sore throat, and nagkakaroon sila ng tinatawag na sore throat. Sulat ko na lang, sore throat, lymphadenopathy, no? Ibig sabihin, yung mga kulani nila, lymphadenopathy, yan ay nagiging swollen. Okay? So, another term for your Epstein-Barr virus na i-elicit nila na siya, kaya it would be your infectious mononucleosis na tinatawag, or yung tinatawag na kissing disease. Okay? Okay. So, again, ano ang kailangan yung matandaan? Yung Epstein-Barr virus, no? Ano yung pwede niyang elicit na mga cancer, no? And meron pa tayong isa. Iyan ako lang. The other one would be known as your human papilloma viruses. So, meron tayong mga strains that are said to be oncogenic. Ibig sabihin, it could cause yung tinatawag na cancer na tinatawag, no? So, ano yung cancer na yon? Particularly, no, it would cause yung tinatawag na cervical cancer. Yan. So, paano ba napapasa tong HPV? Usually, sexual contact. Okay? So, it could also cause yung human papilloma viruses. It could cause yung tinatawag na genital warts. Yan. So, yun yung importante. Okay, next. I'm sorry. Let me erase this one, no? So, let's have your human immunodeficiency viruses, no? So, this one could cause yung tinatawag na acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. But when you have your AIDS, usually this is your ill-defining stage. Ibig sabihin, bagsak na yung immune system. So, ano ba yung inaatake ni HIV? You need to take note this one because baka lumabas siya sa boards. For example, yung HIV natin, no, it attacks yung tinatawag na CD4 T helper cells. In some case, pwedeng CD4 cells lang. Kung familiar kayo sa CD4 T helper cells, what it does is pwede niyang i-attack, no, pwede niyang i-attack yung ano kaya pwede niyang i-attack? Yung mga virus-infected cells natin na tinatawag, no? So, again, it could attack yung virus-infected cells. Or, pwede niyang i-activate si B cells to produce yung tinatawag na antibodies. Now, kung aatakihin ni HIV tong CD4 T cells, ano mangyayari? Hindi na magiging efficient na i-clear out yung mga virus-infected cells, no? Di ba ang HIV pumapasok siya sa loob ng mga cells? So, specifically sa mga CD4 T cells natin. So, now, hindi maki-clear out yon. Another thing, hindi makakapag-produce ng antibodies against it. Okay? So, ano ang characteristic nito? Single envelope. So, meron siyang envelope, single-stranded RNA virus. And it could also cause yung tinatawag na long incubation period, no? Na tinatawag. So, very important na malaman nyo na meron na tayong mga antiretroviral. Pero kapag tinitreat yung mga ganito HIV, sobrang may mga combination drugs tayo to avoid yung tinatawag na resistance. Okay. So now, let's move on to your antiretroviral agents. So the antibiotics are not effective against your viral infection. Again, this is not effective against viral infection. So again, you need to take note na yung mga antiviral agents, they are used to treat viral infection. And what do? Balikan nyo yung ating key processes in viral replication. So, may mga viruses that could target yung attachment phase, no? Or yung docking natin, no? Next, yung iba, yung penetration, may mga target doon. Meron din nagta-target ng tinatawag na coating, no? And meron din tuma-target nung biosynthesis na tinatawag, and even assembly, and even yung release o yung yung release natin na tinatawag. So, again, disrupting critical phases in viral multiplication or inhibiting synthesis of viral DNA, RNA, or protein. So, yun yung mga inaano niya. Tina-target. Okay, let me erase this one again. So, generally, you have your prions. If you're familiar with prions, these are what you call your misfolded proteins na tinatawag. So, these misfolded proteins could be lodged saan? Sa utak, no? So, what will happen next? Kapag na-misfold yung mga proteins na to, yung mga misfolded proteins na ito, it could act as your infectious disease. So, pwede siyang mag-dislodge saan? Sa brain natin, no? Usually, brain. So, kapag nag-dislodge siya sa brain, what will happen? Magkakaroon ka ng neurological symptoms. And, usually, yung mga neurological symptoms na to are said to be neurodegenerative. Bakit? Pumapangit yung kondisyon ng pasyente. Okay? So, what will happen, no? What will happen is that this one is said to be untreatable, no? Untreatable tong mga to. So, again, kung untreatable siya, mataas yung mortality rate or fatal to sa mga animals and human. And you have your bovine spongiform encephalopathy. This is known as your mad cow disease. Then, yung Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, ito yung sa human natin, no? So, ano yung nagiging, kung neurological symptoms yon, ano yung nagiging presentation ng pasyente? So, usually, it could present with seizure, encephalopathy, ibig sabihin, pumapangit yung kamalayan ng pasyente, no? Nawawala sila sa sarili, tinatawag, no? So, paano ba siya nangyayari? So, yung person, yung tao, kumain siya ng contaminated food. Saan mo ba siya makikita? Sa mga cattle or sa cow. Now, so, ano mangyayari? Kumain siya ng brain ng cow. Yan. Now, what will happen? Kapag na-ingest mo yan, no? What will happen? It would spread papuntang brain, no? And what will happen? They could remain dormant for years. Now, what will happen is, yung prion na yon, it could attack yung tinatawag na nervous system natin. So, misfolded protein siya, no? Infectious disease, no? So, what will happen, no? It could become destructive doon sa ating brain natin. So, what they do, it would develop yung mga tiny holes na yan. And kapag nasira yung brain, it could cause yung seizure na tinatawag. It could also present yung encephalopathy na sinabi ko kanina, no? And pinaka last, no, sequelae neto, mamatay yung pasyente. Now, ano yung prevention neto? So, dahil sa cattle siya, brain ng cattle na mamalagi, what are you going to do? So, kailangan yung mga infected animals ay masira, mapatay, no? And, syempre, huwag ka nang mag-consume ng brain, no? Cow brain, okay? So, again, you need to take note na kahit yun ay pakuluan mo into high heat, hindi mawawala yung prions na yun. Okay? So, very important talaga yung control or regulation for this one. Okay? If you have any questions, you may message me regarding this one. Okay?